Hello and welcome to this demo of migrating Google Shared Drive to Google Shared Drive with MigrationWiz. When performing a Google Shared Drive migration, you're going to want to define a document project type. We're going to give that project a name, and then we're going to select the customer, which I have already pre-created. Now we're going to define the source environment endpoint. This endpoint has already been pre-created by myself, but what's required is for you to define the super admin username and then also attach the credential file from the source environment, which you should have created there. And that same would apply to the destination endpoint settings as well. Now that the project has successfully been created, we're going to go ahead and save that project and then move on into the advanced options. Now, for all projects, there are essentially two tabs that are worth noting here. The first tab we're going to go to is the source and destination tab, and this is where you can define the total amount of versions that would be migrated per file. Secondly is the support options tab here, which allows you to define essentially 3 support options that are necessary for a successful shared drive to shared drive migration. If you'd like more info on the specific support options, you can visit our help center and review the information within the shared drive to shared drive migration KB. Now that we have added in the advanced options and defined some settings there, we can now auto discover the shared drives on the source. This will allow you to easily identify the shared drives on the source side and import that information into the project without you having to either manually do that one by one with our quick add feature or via bulk add from a CSV file. And now that the line items have been added to the project, before we actually migrate any data, we're going to run an assessment on the source shared drives. This will allow you to easily identify the total amount of data in each shared drive so that you can purchase the correct amount of licensing. So we're going to run the assessment now, and once that assessment is completed, we'll email the project statistics to ourselves. Now that we have received the statistics for the assessment, we go ahead and review the information. As you can see, there's the shared drive names there for each line item. Secondly is the total amount of data in bytes for each one of those shared drives, the total folder count, and then lastly, the total amount of versions used to identify the total amount of data for each shared drive, which should now allow you to purchase the correct amount of licenses. And now that we have completed our assessment, we're going to go ahead and kick off a full migration pass. We're going to go ahead and skip the verify credentials pass just because the assessment already completed successfully. This first step, we're going to migrate the documents, permissions, versions, and metadata. We're running a full migration pass initially. You can always run an additional after cutover, for example, but just because we have such a small amount of data, that isn't particularly necessary. Once that full migration pass is complete, we can go ahead and run step 2 of the full migration, which is migrating the shortcuts of the items that you already moved. We'll go ahead and refresh. And once that shortcut migration is completed, you've essentially migrated all data from the shared drives on the source to the shared drives on the destination. If you have a project in play or you have other questions related to this project type, please reach out to our sales team at sales@bittitan.com. Thanks.